Hey everyone, this is the Kubeflow Notebooks meeting for Notebooks 2.0 and the working group overall, which includes dashboard uh, and all of its auxiliary components like profile controller and KFAM and some other things. So uh, this is the first meeting in the new Zoom, so hopefully this works. We haven't got as many people today, probably mixture of the fact that not it's Christmas soon, and also that the new link is a little bit confusing to join. If you struggled to join, I think the most important thing to do is go to this page. Well, you should go to the community calendar page. The way you get there is going very confusingly to community meetings and then scrolling community, Kubeflow, sorry, community and meetings, and then scrolling down. But also on this Google Doc, which is under this bit.ly, you can go to the our specific event here. Oh no, you can actually go to the calendar here, and then you click on the event, you click register, and then when you click register, it will, well, in this case, it probably won't work for me, but you'll see a email ad here, and then if you do that, it will send you the invite via an email. Make sure you accept it if you're using Gmail, because Gmail won't add things to your calendar by default usually. So hopefully we can work on this process and make it better. If you have any suggestions, please raise them. Other than that, Notebooks 2.0, it's a full rewrite of Kubeflow Notebooks. We're working on it. It's getting close to release. Hopefully it will release in an alpha state before KubeCon EU. Go to this issue to learn more. If you want to help and you're watching this, please reach out. We need people who are good at kind of these types of things, which is controllers with KubeBuilder and Golang, backend APIs, REST, which are also written in Go, and then front end is written in Node, JavaScript, and TypeScript, React, that kind of stuff. Okay. These other ones, I don't know if we haven't really done much with these lately. We'll probably revisit those tracking boards in the new year. I think we have 1 or 2 new people here today. So if you want to say hi, feel free to say hi and introduce yourself. If not, that's fine too.
Hey everyone, I just got here.
Sorry.
My name is Yeltsin Sepulveda. Um, I joined the community maybe like a week or two ago. I've just been poking around, seeing what's available. I'm based in Massachusetts, USA. I just wrapped up my internship with Google Summer of Code. I was participating with KDE, one of my favorite desktops. And so now I'm looking for my next project, and I think that might be Kubeflow. And yeah, met some pretty nice people pointing me in the right direction as far as documentation and how to get started. So, very excited to be here and start contributing. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Awesome. Are you a front end developer? I guess you're a back end if you worked on KDE.
I prefer the back end. I have front end experience, but I very much prefer the back end. I have experience in C++ too, and I'm picking up Go for these projects.
Cool. Yeah. Most of the stuff is in Go or if it's back end, so that would definitely be the right thing to do.
Okay, awesome. Good to know.
C is interesting. Yeah, we don't really use much C. Probably interesting. Anyway, yeah, awesome. Anyone else want to say hi? I know we had one other person. I'm not a lot. If you don't want to say hi, that's fine. Okay. Uh, cool. So so there was a 1.11 release of Kubeflow. We wrote this last time that probably it doesn't include anything of our stuff, and it does include the old versions of our stuff, but it was cut kind of suddenly, and we didn't have time to actually do it in the moment, just because there was other, we're working on the proper releases and stuff, and everything wasn't quite. There was no real benefit to racing out a release of notebooks or dashboard when they're halfway through being rewritten to some extent. But in the interest of not confusing people, there's a debate that we could have. First is that now maybe this releases, what the heck does this releases page? This is probably something we need to vote on as like a community, but there's 2 options I would say. The first is that, and it's not really the right place to talk about it, but the first option is just to have this be the final version. I think that's not a great idea. Second option is to make a release which says, look at here are the links to all the release pages for the other components and list the manifest as one of those components. The other one is to use I think this is not a great idea, is to also align every manifest release with one of these. Um, the reason that I don't think that's a great idea is because it just seems very tedious, and each release also needs to be a tag, and it would just mean that I don't actually have any idea what GitHub would do if you just keep tagging using the same commit as the release. It just seems worrying. I don't know if anyone's got any ideas here about this. The reason I'm a bit worried about it is just because Google, this is still the top result on Google, right? So its releases being really old and make the project look less active. Any thoughts? Okay. Well, so I'd say I'm just going to write these two options. Option one, how to handle the releases tab on the Kubeflow repo. So option one, do nothing, have the final release be 1.10.0 or whatever it was. Sure. Option two, make a final release called look at other component versions, which links to website other repos. Align, create releases for each major version of the calver, e.g. 2603, and link to its website page. This one might be strange in GitHub if we don't also make a commit to attach each tag to, as otherwise all tags would be on the same commit. I'm just trying to remember this for next year, otherwise we're going to forget. Okay. Anyone got any comments about this? Other than that, there's one easy PR that people can make. Feel free. Anyone got anything? Yep. Okay. So there's one easy PR that someone can make to the front end, or sorry, to the website if they want, which is that we updated the tagline of Kubeflow notebooks in our repo, but we haven't updated it on the website. It's just this. So there's a front page. So there's two places that would need to be updated on the home page under here, this wording, and also on the overview page here. Just because it's no longer only in pods, and it just doesn't sound that good. It's not as easy to understand if you're not a developer of Kubernetes stuff. So instead, it says Kubeflow Notebooks runs interactive development environments for AI, ML, and data workloads on Kubernetes.
I would be happy to take that.
Yeah. If you want a free PR merge, that's the easy one.
That's got my name on it.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So the one other thing would be, so the overview page probably also just use the we could honestly take almost this entire section, but I'd say at very least just take that part as the tagline there, and then update it to this wording as well. Native support for
I'm sorry. Can you run
so
that back?
so there's two sections here, right, on the overview page, right? Some features, I say replace it with the wording that we're using on the README as well.
Okay, sounds good.
So it's just effectively use this part and this part. But it's amazing if you can do that. The front page one is a little bit harder to always get approval to change things, but it should be fine if it's just this word. Cool. Any comments or questions about that? If you have better taglines, please suggest them. It's just the last one was pretty bad, so we changed it. Okay. Kubeflow dashboard. I don't know what the status is here. I don't think any significant work has happened yet since the last release.
No, I took a stab, Matthew, at a migration guide. It's just like on a fork in my wiki, on a wiki in my fork. And that was really just kind of reverse engineering in a much less opinionated way what that script that Kimonis had done But it's still just like a rough draft. Otherwise, I haven't really been looking at dashboard.
Okay, yeah, cool. So obviously, we at some point before the 2603 release, which I think probably will happen, which is the next major release of like, we're not, it's not a major release of Kubeflow. It's just like this new idea of agreeing that I think it's more about the components choosing to support their components for a period of time. Like, so you make a major release and then keep making patch releases on whatever the major version was that happened on each of those two bi-yearly releases. And the next one would be for before KubeCon EU. So we would want to rush, it's mostly done, but just like get whatever we need so that that stuff is ready so that we're not thinking about it just before the 2.0, so that we can focus on Notebooks 2.0, I think, as we get close to their release. Obviously, in the new year, we'll probably do more on that, but let's do that. Okay, I'm gonna skip this for now if no one's doing stuff on it right now. 1.0, I think there was stuff happening here, so let me check. But oh, sorry. So Kubeflow Notebooks 1.0, which lives on this branch.
Bunch of CVE work, but I've been on holiday, so just as the little time I've had, I've been looking at Notebooks 2 stuff. But yeah, there's quite a few CVE and like dependency updates rolling in.
Yes, I think someone also, I think there may have been someone was DMing about I'm trying to remember. Someone made a PR. What? Oh no, it's fine. Don't worry, we're good. Okay. So yeah. So I guess it's mainly just making sure that these don't break things. And I don't know if anyone's had a chance to try deploy now that we've done all these other updates. I guess we've merged into main and stuff. Or I don't think without these other CVE fixes. I mean, but has anyone?
Yeah, like the Israeli team that's working on most of these, like we have like I just wrote like a little script, not official, that uses, manifests and then overwrite stuff with images that we build off branches. So I imagine, but that's not like heavily stress testing, but they should be smoke screening things, at least in that regard.
Cool. Okay, so the idea for this one is to obviously get a 1.12 release out before the new major release that we're talking about for KubeCon EU, just so that it's kind of the final, not final, but the goal would be to only make patch releases to that, and then have everyone migrate to Kubeflow Notebooks 2.0 in the end of year release, as the main supported one. We'll evaluate what that means when we come to it, if we continue to do 1.0 stuff or not. So anyone got any comments about Notebooks 1.0, or we can jump to 2.0 quickly, which is the part we actually want to talk about. Okay. So I guess status there is that we're raising PRs to do CVE fixes and other things that are just kind of cleaning up the code. Okay, so for Notebooks 2.0, which lives in the D2 branch, let me just actually link to the repos here, like we did on this one.
For that easy change, am I looking to make the change on website, the repo called website?
Yeah. That is correct. And just tag me, the Super Stepper, and
Sounds
others
good.
too, I guess. But, okay. Just linking these so people can easily get to them. Okay, cool. So for V2, I know that we merged in the secret stub thing, but let's just quickly go through what. So this is just us talking about the fact that we need to have a release notes and a kind of table of maturity of features, especially if we release a version that has a mixture of maturities in its features while it's being in alpha. So, which functions are ready for use and testing, and which are just, or yeah, the overall app, we should agree at first, obviously, is just a preview, but in alpha. But at some point, we'll have a release app that might have beta features in it. So that's just discussion there. We need to obviously probably table that until next year, but that's important to have. So still the goal, the primary, that is 3 top priorities, and this is trying to spike into these areas so that we make a release so we can get the release out. The first one obviously is being able to actually deploy and run Notebooks 2.0 inside Kubeflow dashboard, and that required a whole bunch of stuff. I think we already did this one, so I can strike through this. And then this wiki would probably be the next thing. Once it's fully deployable, we should cut some alpha ones, but not quite. Oh yeah, we could cut an alpha one. I mean, this is an interesting debate.
I think we should get like I'm fine like an alpha release even if we have some of these stubs, but I think stubbing out the rest of like workspace kind update and getting the volume stuff there,
I
just
think
so
we're
it's
probably,
like
yeah, you mean workspace update, right? Or
well, no, then workspace kind update as well. Workspace update we're very close on, but I think the workspace kind update and volumes like stubs just so that way like the front end like it wouldn't work end to end, but we should be able to have like real APIs for the front end to like give a comprehensive insight into what this will do. But like I wouldn't die on that hill, right? It's I
oh
mean
yeah,
it's an
actually we said
alpha,
this
so
already. Yeah, as soon as it's possible to spawn and connect to workspace. I don't think we currently. I would say that I don't think that currently is the case. You know, like it's possible to spawn, but it's not really what an end user would expect. So okay, yep. So, but we do want to do that, obviously. So then we can have people test it and give feedback. Of course, we want to make sure that we have a way to people give feedback in a way that's not crazy and just spamming issues, but and also make it clear that this is not for end users, maybe for other parts of Kubeflow. Okay, developers of Kubeflow. So the end-to-end test PR, I think, is also the next. So in terms of next priorities under here, other than this wiki one, I'm just going to put this. Actually,
yeah, we
yes.
have that if we have time today, although I'm kind of time constrained, Matthew, but I do have that foundational end-to-end PR up. If we could get that merged, I know like Alok had even said willing to work on like end-to-end tests and stuff, so we could get like the basic scaffolding in place, people contributing. I think it's a good onboarding exercise to start to write EDE tests, ask questions in the Slack channel if there's any ambiguity, but that kind of helps like learn the code base to then make future feature development even better and easier.
Yep. Okay. So I mean, yes. Is there any other things that are under here? So obviously we're going to need to start discussing how we do example notebook servers for V2, and maybe example workspace kinds might be the better. Probably rename to reference workspace kinds. So yeah, we need ways to build the tree of images and things. We don't need to solve this before the new year, but I'm just saying this is like under here. The thing will become this once we've got end-to-end tests and once we've got a basic alpha cut, and then update guide to use the new feature. Oh yeah, we do need to do that after this. Once we've got a V2, so this means that once we've got the dashboard repo released, we need to update the example guide for how to deploy Kubeflow Notebooks 2.0 to use that. And then this is in the dashboard repo, not really part of us, but it is important for us so that we don't have to depend on anything but the dashboard repo, that we have a reference auth stack inside of the dashboard. Okay, anyone else got anything that's blocking priority 1? We can quickly move on to 2, which is where most of the work is happening. Okay. Type in the chat if anyone wants. Okay, so 2 is making sure that all the front-end pages are actually like effectively everything related to spawning and connecting to a workspace is at least mocked, but has the ability for the front end to do things. And then obviously as that progresses, actually having it all work and connect to the back end and actually do things. Right now we have just merged the secrets one. So this now is stub was merged effectively. Merged need to integrate with front end. I think there is some PRs already maybe that happened, but
I think people Charles and Jenny have PRs raised, so I'm just not sure with holiday stuff, but those should all be good to start rolling out then. Yes.
PRs probably be raised. Let me just find that. Okay. Oh yeah, what was this? Secrets. But yeah, so I definitely want to start getting people to give feedback to the design. I don't want people to be like micro, styling, but definitely conceptually we need to start giving feedback to the flow of workspace create because I think it will need some work. But create new secret mode, was that the one probably?
Yeah, so it's just not the one in the middle. I think I had originally referenced the secrets stub for my 750, but it's those other four, I think.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's so I'll just say here there are some PRs which need review. Okay, cool. So in terms of other things this is probably already the case, but it might not be. Yes, so all interactions need to be calling backend APIs. I think they are now. I mean, there's probably some that they're not actually, but we'll see. The backend field, yeah, so this is just a rule. We just always reiterate that if we have a backend field, it should be used somewhere in the front end. We don't randomly put things in the backend. And even if it's just something simple like a tooltip pop-up, just so that it highlights to the people using the app that information could be used in a different way if they wish. And also just so that we don't have any miscommunications between the front end and back end teams. You don't know what a field means, please ask. And you're a front end dev. Okay, workspace icons. This got merged, right? Or is it not? Icons.
Sorry, no, that did not get merged. It's ready for merge, or ready for review, yes. And then Charles has a front end counterpart that should bring the appropriate caching that we were asking.
Okay, I'll just link those here so we don't forget. Oh, no, I linked it twice. Okay. Update volumes. I guess we haven't merged the stub. So we have the stub. Is the stub designed? It's not fully designed, but the PR is not raised yet for the stub in the back end.
Yeah, so we ended up doing the secret stub review on Tuesday, but we next Tuesday, like kind of like implementer leads call, I have a volume API proposal for us to look over, and we can raise a stub off that shortly thereafter. Volumes are complicated, so we should get a good comprehensive review on what I'm proposing before we start to even stub it.
Okay, cool. So this secret one is mostly done, and then there are some front end part. Okay, format, strike through. Okay, so the create workspace one. Okay, so this is something we probably need to remember as well. We also probably need to disable culling being done by the controller.
So that's actually Alok actually has raised a PR for that.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, we wanted to talk about the right way to bring that in.
Been raised, needs review. I'll just quickly link that here. What was the thing called?
Look for defer, the word defer, because it's really removing that defer.
No, maybe I'm spelling it.
It's got to be one of the first ones. Remove automatic redirect. Sorry, it's 804.
Yeah. It's a redirect.
Yep, thank you. I just couldn't remember the right keyword.
Okay, that one. Okay, and so we'll come to that one in a second. Okay, update workspace. So this one is, stub is not quite merged yet, or?
So it's ready for review. Now that we merged the secret stub, I rebased and tried to apply this was only one endpoint, so it wasn't as involved as the secret stub, but that should be ready now. I pulled in that audit object, got all that updated, and then just like quickly ran it in Tilt, because we have Tilt now. And hitting the API just from an API client, everything looked to be in order there. Again, still a stub. It's not actually updating the workload resource in Kubernetes, but the API responses seem reasonable.
Okay. That one.
And Guilherme has been working with it. So I know like that API contract he's good on because he has a front end accompanying PR on that as well. So, and he didn't have any feedback or request any changes to that. So we should be good on that front, just a technical review to get it merged.
So that from a stub perspective, I guess there's a debate as to whether we should, is there this, I mean, this is probably a separate API. It's unclear, right? What we're already doing the stopping, but like what the story and flow is for the front end around applying redirects now that it's possible.
So we had briefly talked about this, and we had said it's just going to be the workspace update API, and they'll craft the body appropriately to issue it as an update.
Yeah, I mean,
which
yeah,
I think is
probably
reasonable.
fine. And so I guess is the get workspace information sufficient to tell everything it needs? I think it might be, but I'd have to check.
Well, yeah, I wanted to get like the update one merged. I haven't really been like thinking about it, but the only question I have is, well, the get is interesting, right? On the list item schema, we return the redirect stuff in status, right? So that's like the only, like we don't return status because that get schema is really like things that you can set. And so it's like to apply the redirects, you need that the whatever desired. And I think we include the chain in status. So it feels like that should probably just be like passed in from like the list view versus surfaced in the get. I'm not sure.
I think it's already passed in the
but it's passed in the status object, and we're not returning anything from status in the get call.
Okay, yeah, okay. Let's keep going. So the logs, I don't think that's the top priority, but it is important. Workspace events similarly, but I guess anything else on these ones, update workspace or other things that we need to think about after we've done the initial stub. So we need to implement the actual backend, obviously, but
yes.
Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, also the CRD actually doesn't emit events. Okay, so once we've got this, I really want to make sure that, so we're not really, the only way to test it with a full end-to-end flow right now is, actually we haven't enabled auth either, right? Like this is, well, I mean, we have, have we? No, I don't think
no, we pretty much always run with auth turned off right now. We like pass around
there, but
it's like there. We just, I mean, I've never ran with it on, quite honestly.
We should probably figure that out at some point. Let's almost like connect to workspace. Ensure we try with auth on. In backend and with Istio. Yeah, it's just that kind of stuff. I don't know. Like make sure that errors of auth look okay in the UI. Auth. Whatever. Okay. So let's just, I'm just gonna remove these ones.
Hello.
Yeah.
By the way, I have one PR open for the front-end issue while adding an image in workspace kind. It was about alignment of the labels of the input box.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, cool. Yeah, I mean, styling changes probably a lot. There's going to be a lot of styling changes, but if you have something, propose it to the front-end people, yeah, and ask the PR. It might not get reviewed until after New Year, but
okay.
I'll make sure I get eyes on that a lot. But yeah, like people are kind of like starting to be out for holidays, but I'll internally ping some folks to look at that on the front end. Me and Matthew generally don't review front end changes, but I'll make sure the right people.
But we do need to conceptually review the flow of the front end stuff. Like there's a lot of pieces that someone who understands the back end should really look at the front end, just confirm that it's rational. Because there's some weirdness, I think, that there's some misunderstandings in the front end about what back end fields mean in some cases. But hopefully those get cleaned up as we start doing end-to-end flows and it becomes clear that there was a misunderstanding. Like, volume name, there's a field that's called home. And I think people got confused they thought that meant home path, but it actually meant a PVC, which obviously wouldn't work if it was a not mocked API. Okay. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay, anyone else got anything about Priority 2? We've only got a couple minutes left. Okay, so SDR integration, I don't think anything significant is happening here yet. There was some...
Yeah, Harshad's was, I think Culling's kind of wrapping down. He has enough to start working on. So this will be Harshad's kind of next thing to bring a proposal, at least start to organize thoughts on this post-Culling stuff.
Which is both the ability to use non-SDO gateways, which I think probably is... We should defer that until after we've done a full end-to-end SDO one, because it's a bit hard to design it until we have a working reference that we're using.
I think we'll probably end up doing something on like a midstream here to mess around with it. And then once we feel like we have something good, we'll take that back upstream to talk about it.
But yeah, we do need a design for this one, just in case it requires a lot of work.
Harshad will be looking at that. And then, like I said, I think we'll kind of midstream gateway API support, land on something good, and then write up a proposal and take it upstream to try to get that all living there.
Okay. These were just other discussions that we won't talk about right now. Okay, so if people have specific things they've been working on, feel free to add them and we can quickly go through them, or anything's blocking you, or anyone else got any topics they need to talk about with everyone before we do a quick
I wanted to
stand-up?
raise, so like Alok's PR, if you want to pull back up the PRs, the one that we were just talking about with the redirects, there's a kind of question here so this, we ended up including controller backend and front end changes here, but because of this swagger.version mechanism we have in the front end, Matthew, it's like as this is constructed right now, this is pointing to a commit that doesn't really exist on Notebooks v2 yet, right? It's in the PR. So there was talk of like,
you shouldn't update that. No, yes, you can't. Well, we designed
that's what I was going to say. So we probably want to split front end into its own PR, even though right now in the interim, that would mean that like it's quote unquote broken if you try to run everything on latest.
Yeah, we talked about having a validation for this. Like, I don't remember if we wrote down the rules, but obviously this shouldn't be able to not be in the main tree, right? Like, so this commit should probably be required. We should actually, that's probably a basic validation we can do to just make it fair. That's probably something we should add it actually, which says it should be in a it should be a child. Sorry, it should be a parent of the current head of v2 branch. You know what I mean? Like we should have a git query that fails if that's not the case. That's probably.
So I think, and just for clarity, like I said, if we had like a GA product, we would need to roll out, because this is a breaking API change, removing defer updates. I really don't want to go through the cycle of like incrementally introducing this so it's non-breaking. So I think we will just split this into front end and back end and controller is one piece, front end is the other piece, and we merge back end and controller, and I'll work with Paulo to make sure the front end then gets merged after that. Or
but this just highlights that there's a massive kind of risk here, which is this could be anything from anyone's fork. So like we really need to make that, we need to put that security check in urgently, honestly, which is like that this commit should not be allowed to be anything that's not the current head of the v2 branch or one of its parents. You know what I mean? Like that is the only valid. And there'll be a git query to do that, I imagine, but it's just...
I'm sure, yes.
Effectively just, is it connected to this tree? Like... or it's not, but it can't be a child either of the current head, like it has to be a parent. Yeah.
So Alok, at a high level, if you want to split this PR up into two, and then we'll look to get the back end. I'll work with the front end people to make sure that gets merged ASAP, but we'll get the back end merged. And then, the commit might change if we have to do changes or whatnot. And so then that front end one we'll turn attention to once we get the backend controller piece merged.
Because you can't possibly know what this commit's going to be,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay, that's fine. I will just split the PR in backend and frontend.
Yep, and thank you. In the new year, I mean, thank you for highlighting this, right? This is why it's good to have like new contributors and stuff. I mean, this is, you didn't do anything wrong here. We just don't have good guidance on how to do this. So we'll work on improving that. So sorry to make you split this,
I
but
was
I
also just
appreciate
kind
your
of confused in this.
flexibility.
So to be clear, the reason why we decided this was okay originally, not that we do need to do that security thing I was talking about, but the reason we decided it was okay is because it should not ever be the case that you're making a breaking backend change. So the front end, in fact, by doing it as a split, you confirm that you're not. Because you know what I mean? Like you're like, because during an update process, you need to be able to roll out the update safely, right? So the idea is that all of the tests for the front end should continue to pass no matter what you do to the back end. Right?
Yeah,
so,
well, but like in this case, we are going to just break the API. But yes, in general, like that won't happen as we have full end-to-end tests and whatnot. Absolutely. But like, there's no reason to like make this backwards compatible, non-breaking as we're
no,
not.
yeah, I mean,
GA.
not before release, but yeah, but it's
yes, but
it's more like
agree. Yeah.
I still don't understand what would be changing that you'd be breaking anyway, or am I missing something?
We're removing the defer.
Oh yeah,
updates.
so that's a CRD. That's why.
Yes. Which then goes into the, which is surfaced in the API, which then is like the front end has a thing for. So Alok kindly like pushed all these changes up, removed the deferred updates checks box.
It's also important to review the controller part. Reviewing the controller part itself will probably be a little bit of a work as well, just to make sure that there's could be a lot of tendrils for stuff that may not be obvious.
Yeah, it looked pretty clean, but yes, I mean, absolutely, yes.
Okay, cool. So anyway, let's go back to the stand-up so we don't waste that. Okay, if there's anyone else so there's only 4 people here, I'll just go through each of them if they've got, I guess most people are new here other than that. So has anyone got anything they want to say they've been working on or blocked by? Anyone got any things that they would be able to do over the holidays if they want to? If they were given something if they were unblocked in some way,
Is it okay if I ask a couple questions as a newcomer?
Yeah, I mean, for everyone, or do you want to do it on the recording, or?
I don't mind.
For sure, do go ask. Yeah.
First, I was gonna ask: is there like a specific newcomer meeting? I know other groups have it.
So Kubeflow is multiple projects. So each project is part of Kubeflow as a community, but has its own process. So. These meetings are usually a lot bigger because it's obviously not the holidays, but like where we kind of go through and make sure that we're progressing and figure out things that the overall notebooks project and dashboard project need to know about. Newcomer ideas for overall Kubeflow, it's kind of hard because the actual contributions happen on specific components, So if a component, it's only really possible to do that per component, So the pipelines team might have their own process, but we can definitely, something we should suggest as to make sure that maybe a central group of the project could go through each of the working groups and confirm they have a process. But right now, the best place to get onboarded and get tasks is to come to these meetings. But also another even better way is when everyone's here is to introduce yourself in the Slack channel and say what you know how to do. Say your experience level, say I've got Go controller experience or whatever else, and then hopefully because the idea is obviously unless you if you join these meetings, you might be able to find a task. You might see a task and say, oh, I can do that. But if you don't have that, then asking in the Slack channel, I think, is probably the best. You're in the Slack channel, right?
Yep, I am.
Oh, yeah.
And feel free, like, we don't we're starting to get a little bit better about documentation and stuff. But like, feel free to, post, Mike Matthew said, in the Slack channel. I'm happy to run, I've a couple community members. We've like done like a Slack private chat where I've kind of given people a quick like tour of stuff and whatnot. So feel free to, reach out if you want a little one-on-one time just to get you better, kind of bearings.
We also did write this development workflow, which we probably should. It's interesting, actually, how we should. I'm going to put this actually just as a standing item at the top of this. C Notebooks 2.0.
I really appreciate that offer, Andy. Thank you very much. I was
Yeah,
gonna
no,
also ask.
least I can do. Like I said, the next 2 weeks are weird just from like holiday and travel, but always reach out. I'll try to at least
Right.
intermittently check
Yeah.
Slack, and then certainly heading into the new year, I'm much more available. But if I'm around, and I have time, happy to give it to you. So thank you for giving yourself making yourself available to the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try
You can
to go through these
also
quickly.
ask
I don't
me.
want to take up too much time. Sorry, did I interrupt someone?
I just said you can also talk to me. I
Oh,
can
okay,
help
awesome.
you with what I can.
Um,
Cool. Okay.
so,
Yeah. Other question?
am I gonna find any logic or like architecture diagrams going through the contribution documentation for any of these projects?
That's actually probably a good idea that we should link the design doc, but it's a bit hard. But so for Notebooks 2.0, so Kubeflow overall, it's like the architecture is that there are components to some extent, right? Like you can see the list of components on the website, but it is a little bit hard to see. There's kind of two places, right? There's these projects here, but these are the ones that can be deployed independently. So it's maybe we should have an architecture diagram somewhere. Oh no, there's an overview page, right? Yes, there is an architecture page. There we go. So, but again, this is not architecture
Okay.
that you're thinking about. This is overall like why Kubeflow exists as an ecosystem of components, and then there is each component is itself a complex application in a lot of cases. Some apps are more simple than others, like
Okay, an ecosystem type
yeah,
of
so it's more
architecture.
like
Okay.
Kubernetes itself to some extent, and
Okay.
then
Um,
and then and
and
so
honestly,
notebooks, yeah,
I don't really need like a specific architecture. I think maybe this guide will be enough just as long as I know like what it is that I'm planning to contribute to, like how it
yeah.
works, and what it does.
So like notebooks specifically is the interactive developer environment place. So like spawning, uh, and it's going to expand even more in the next release after Notebooks 2.0. But it's about running. Well, that's the wording that we said before, but it's about running interactive development environments. What that means is stuff like Jupyter, VS Code, SSH sessions, getting access to shared environments that you can use on your Kubernetes cluster for doing AI data ML work.
Okay.
And then other components do other things. Some of the
Okay.
people use them from notebooks sometimes and use them from other places other times. But yeah, if notebooks is interesting right now because it's being rewritten as to version 2, which is always an exciting time to be involved in things. But
Okay. Yeah, I had other questions, but I can ask these in chat. I really don't want to take up any more time. And again, I appreciate you guys answering my questions and helping me get involved. Thank you.
cool. Anyone got anything else they want to add before we close the recording? You can stick around for a little bit afterwards and do PR reviews like we usually do. Okay, thank you everyone.